Will the accused please stand? Madame Evelyn, you are charged with 2 offenses. The first, that between the dates of September 2005 and 2008, you did unlawfully exploit Cinderella. Madame Evelyn, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Madame Evelyn, you are also charged with the second offense, that on the date of September 18, 2009, you did forcibly confine Cinderella. Madame Evelyn, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
She pleads not guilty on both counts, my lord.
All right, then. Are counsel ready to proceed with the trial?
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
All right, then. I will just take a moment to address the jury. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Before beginning this trial, I'm going to make a few comments about your role here today. As the judge in this matter, it is my role to interpret and judge the law. As the jury in this matter, it is your role to assess the evidence presented here by the witnesses today. There are 2 other principles that are important as your role as jurors. There are presumption of innocence and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Madame Evelyn is presumed to be innocent until the Crown has satisfied you beyond a reasonable doubt that she is guilty. The responsibility is on the Crown to prove each element of Madame Evelyn's crime that she has been charged with. Because of the presumption of innocence, Madame Evelyn is not required to prove that she is not guilty or to explain the evidence presented by the Crown. Madame Evelyn is charged with 2 crimes. In order for you to find her guilty of unlawful exploitation under Section 279.04 of the Criminal Code, the Crown must prove the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. That the accused did between 2005 and 2008 led the complainant, Cinderella, to provide labor against her will. That in providing labor or services was done against Cinderella's will, that in causing Cinderella to do these labor or services, the safety of her or persons known to her would be threatened if she failed to provide these labor or such services. In order for you to find Madame Evelyn guilty of forcible confinement under Section 279, Part 2 of the Criminal Code, the Crown must prove the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. That on September 18th, 2008, Madame Evelyn, with intent, confined, imprisoned, forcibly seized Cinderella, and she did so without lawful authority. These charges are not related. You may find the accused guilty of both of these offenses, neither of these offenses, or just one of these offenses. I now call the Crown to proceed with their case.
Members of the jury, myself and my colleagues seated with me represent the Crown in the matter before you. I will keep our opening very brief. We intend to call several witnesses to testify before you to prove that the accused, Madame Evelyn, did between the dates of 2005 and 2008 unlawfully exploited Cinderella, and did on the date of September 19, 2008 forcibly confine Cinderella. At the end of this trial, we will ask you to return a verdict that the accused, Madame Evelyn, is guilty of both unlawful exploitation and forcible confinement. Thank you.
Is the Crown ready to call its first witness?
Yes, my lord. The Crown calls Cinderella to the stand.
Would you like to affirm or swear in an oath?
Swear.
Take the Bible in your right hand. Do you swear that the evidence you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
Cinderella?
And your last name?
No, just Cinderella, like Beyonce or Rihanna.
Do you have a job, Cinderella?
I'm a princess. Princesses don't work, but I do dedicate a lot of time to volunteering.
Where do you volunteer?
At the animal shelter, I give the animals their voice lessons.
Where do you currently live?
At Burnaby Palace.
Have you always lived there?
No, I grew up in a house with my stepmother and 2 stepsisters in Burnaby.
Do you see your stepmother in the courtroom today?
Yes, she is over there in the accused box.
Can you describe for the court what it was like when your stepmother and stepsisters moved in with you?
Well, I was excited at first because I was an only child and I wanted big sisters. You know, they have cool clothes and cool friends and I wouldn't be so lonely anymore. But after a while, I guess I wasn't cool enough for them. They did their own thing. My stepmother wasn't very nice to me, and I didn't like her very much. She gave us all chores, but I had more than anyone else, and pretty soon I was doing all of my stepsister's work too. I did all the cleaning and didn't get to take piano or singing lessons like the other girls. I was alone a lot and didn't get to go out much.
You mentioned that you did a lot of chores. Do you recognize the document, Cinderella?
Yes?
My lord, I would like to enter this as Exhibit 1.
Any objections?
No, my lord.
Clerk, please mark this as exhibit number 1.
What else can you tell me about your interactions with your stepmother?
Well, she's never really liked me. I've never been a daughter to her because every single time I wouldn't do something that she'd want me to, I'd get shut up in my room. She was evil, a witch. She scared me.
Objection. The witness is not qualified to call the accused a witch. The witness is offering opinion evidence.
Allow the objection. Cinderella, please limit how you phrase your questions to things yourself witnessed or heard, and do not provide your opinions.
No more questions, my lord.
Your witness, counsel.
Thank you, my lord. Cinderella, you said that while you lived with your stepmother and stepsisters, there were some chores that everybody had to do. Is that correct?
Yes.
Except for the work the full-time butler employed by your stepmother did, right?
Correct.
So in fact, you didn't have to do all the work around the house, did you?
Well, no, but I did a lot of it.
You did the chores your stepmother assigned you, but other housework was done by the butler, correct?
I guess so, yes.
Now, you testified that on the day of the homecoming ball, your stepmother gave you twice as much work to do as usual. Is that correct?
Yes, so I wouldn't be able to go to the ball.
But in fact, she never said you couldn't go to the ball, did she?
Well, no, but there was just so much work to do that it was almost impossible to get it done in time.
But you actually did get it all done, didn't you?
Yes, but I had to work very hard.
Cinderella, I'm going to suggest to you that if you had twice as much work to do that day than you normally did, and you got all the work done in one day, then the amount of work you normally got should only take half a day. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection. My friend is asking the witness to speculate.
My lord, I'm merely asking her to do some simple math. If it takes one day to do twice what she normally does, then what she normally does should only take half a day.
I will allow the question.
Oh, well, that day I did get help.
And who did you get help from?
I don't want to say.
Cinderella, I'd like to remind you that you're under oath and that you must answer each of the questions posed to you honestly and to the best of your ability.
Well, the butler.
So it is now your position that you did not in fact finish work by yourself on the day in question, but you still went to the ball that night even though you thought your stepmother didn't want you to, right?
Yes.
And you knew that she would be at the ball and that she would probably see you, right?
Yes.
So it is fair to say that you didn't care if your stepmother saw you or not because you weren't actually afraid of her?
No. I mean, I was always scared of her. She was always threatening to do bad things to my animal friends if I didn't obey her.
No more questions, my lord.
Would the Crown like to re-examine the witness?
No, my lord.
Cinderella, you may step down. Crown, please call your next witness.
Thank you, my lord. The Crown calls Fairling Godmother to the stand.
Would you like to affirm or swear in an oath?
I'll affirm an oath.
Do you solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
Fairling Godmother. Thank you, Mrs. Scott.
I will now turn to my jury charge. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that concludes the evidence in this case. You may now proceed to the jury room for deliberation.
Order in court. This court is adjourned to the await of the jury. All rise.
You may be seated.
Members of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
Yes, we have.
Madam Foreperson, what is your verdict contrary to Section 279, Part 2 of the Criminal Code?
Not guilty.
What is your verdict contrary to Section 279.04 of the Criminal Code?
Not guilty.
Your verdict is not guilty on both counts, my lord.
Madame Evelyn, the jury of your peers has found you not guilty. You are free to go. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we thank you for your services as jurors in this matter. Both society and law benefit from your contribution. In return, I hope you have found this to be an interesting and rewarding experience.
This court stands adjourned. Order in court.